Well, thank you, Steve. And first at 5 tonight, wasn't that an election? Many Maritimers who had to be to work this morning couldn't stay up with us here on ATV to watch the returns come in from Western Canada. So for some, it was quite a surprise to awaken to a completely changed political landscape. A landscape dominated by Liberals with a strong showing by the Reform, loss of official party status for the Tories, and the Bloc Québécois as official opposition.
Today, we're trying to make sense of it all. But first, your thoughts. ATV's Jonathan Kay was up bright and early today to see how people are reacting to the changes.
As the first rays of sunshine beamed over Halifax Harbor this morning, people gearing up for another day at work were also trying to catch up with all that had happened while they'd been asleep.
That's about what I expected. Other than that, I'm not quite awake yet. It's too early.
The dismal showing by the Tories wasn't surprising. The number of Reform MPs elected last night was.
It's what the Conservatives deserve. They tell us a whole bunch of stuff, and then they turn around and do the opposite.
What about the size of the Liberal majority? Was that a bit of a shock, too?
Yeah. I kind of disagree with that. Now they got the full range just like the Conservatives does. Who knows?
Were you surprised by the size of the Liberal majority?
Yes, I was. I was surprised that the Reform Party had so many votes as well.
Other people we met just stared at the results, trying to figure out exactly how the political scene has changed overnight and what the new dynamics will be.
I don't think anybody figured out why this had happened. Myself, I don't know, Alex. I'm totally surprised. I'm reading this morning and just going to sit at work today and just go all over it and see what's going to happen. I don't think anybody really has any answers.
This morning, people weren't concerned so much about waking up to a Liberal majority government. They were expecting the Liberals to be in power one way or another. What is a matter of concern is the official opposition.
I would be concerned about the fact that the official opposition is the Bloc. That's a regional party, and it's not a national party.
But even tonight, as people are on their way home from work, few are any more certain how these changes will affect everyday life in the Maritimes and in the country. In Halifax, Jonathan Kay, ATV News.
The party went well into the night as Liberals celebrated their enormous election victory. In our region, all but one of the 25 seats went red. Elsie Wayne in St. John is one of only 2 Conservatives elected in the country. ATV's Alex Vaz is in Moncton and has this recap of our Maritime results. Alex?
I'm here at George Rideout's headquarters. There's not too many people around today. There's a few cleaning up, but nothing compared to the hundreds that packed this building to celebrate the Liberal victory last night. But all that's left is a Rideout campaign sign. Liberals celebrated all night long, but there was no party bigger than the one that was held in the riding of Madawaska, Victoria.
I feel on top of the world, and so should the people of Madawaska, Victoria, because they're on the winning side there with Chocolate Jet.
Perrette Ringette Malte was the underdog during the campaign, but she successfully unseated Human Resources Minister Bernard Valcourt, a seat he held for 9 years.
It's with a sense of accomplished duty and satisfaction that I will retire. I have no regrets whatsoever.
Paul Zed proved even the safest of Conservative seats was vulnerable last night, ousting 4-time winner Bob Corbett in Fundy Royal. Harold Culbert and Andy Scott also took seats away from the Tories.
I really want to change the way the system works so that people feel that government belongs to them.
Fernand Robichaud, Charles Hubbard, Doug Young, George Rideout, and Guy Arsenault held on to Liberal ridings as well. In Cape Breton, Francis LeBlanc, Russell McClellan, and David Dingwall were all re-elected. Dingwall says Liberals must now deliver.
I believe that we have a real obligation now. We have been given a decisive, an overwhelming, decisive mandate from the people of Atlantic Canada.
On the mainland, the Liberal wave washed over longtime Conservative Pat Nowlan. This election he ran unsuccessfully as an independent, losing to John Murphy.
It appears that we have defeated both Pat and the PC candidate with our numbers.
Mary Clancy, Jeff Regan, Roseanne Scope, Diane Burchett, Derek Wells, and Harry Varon also won in Nova Scotia. PEI returned 4 Liberals to Ottawa, stopping Tom McMillan's return to Parliament.
I was counting on the national campaign helping me and lifting me, not necessarily riding a wave, but not being buried by a wave either.
In Moncton, Alex Bass, ATV News.
Thank you, Alex. Of course, a lot of attention is being focused today on St. John. It's one of only 2 ridings in the country, the entire country, that stuck with the Conservatives. ATV's Mike Cameron is standing by in St. John. And Mike, is it fair to say that Elsie Wayne could have won St. John no matter what party she was running for?
Nancy, many people are saying today that she may have done even better had she run as an independent. Elsie Wayne not only won this riding last night, she actually doubled the margin of victory that Jerry Merethy won for the Tories in the last election. Now she's going to Ottawa virtually alone, just with Jean Charest. But when we spoke to people on the street today, we couldn't find anyone who was having second thoughts about voting for Elsie Wayne.
I think she'll help St. John if she possibly can. She works hard. She's a great worker.
Everybody voted for Elsie, and of course that was expected, eh?
Well, I don't envy her position.
Do you think she's going to be a good MP?
Well, if she's as good as she is for St. John, yeah.
Even though she's sort of alone up there.
Yeah, but she's got the voice behind her.
She'll do a good job.
I will be speaking out for our people here, and that's exactly what I will do.
Elsie Wayne took the St. John riding by a comfortable 3,300 votes.
This is one of only 2 constituencies in the entire country that decided to return a Conservative to Parliament. But the win last night had less to do with the party and more to do with the candidate.
Yes, I have to pack everything.
This is 10 years worth of memories.
11 years.
11 years.
We just finished some in one of the cases.
Today, Wayne is contemplating her final week as mayor and the daunting task of rebuilding the Conservative Party.
I think we can come back stronger than ever before, doing what we have to do for the people of Canada, and that's what we will do, and Jean Charest and I will have to do it, and that's it.
She describes Jean Charest and herself as good friends. Wayne has never actively worked for the Conservative Party. As for speculation that she may be wooed over to join the Reform Party to help it form the official opposition,
I was already wooed before the election.
well, things have changed since before the election.
No, haven't changed with me.
You're determined to stay a progressive.
Oh, yeah. The people put me in there. My workers put me in there, and they put me in as far as they were concerned as a Conservative.
And in voting Conservative, St. Johners have done something almost unique.
She's a grand gal.
In St. John, Mike Cameron, ATV News.
And Elsie Wayne joins us live from our bureau in St. John now. Thank you very much. I guess it is still Mayor Wayne at this point.
Yes, it is until next Wednesday.
Mike Cameron was told by you today that you'd been wooed by Reform. Have you talked to Preston Manning today?
No, I have not. No.
Will you talk to him in the near future?
No, I won't be calling Preston Manning. I've been elected by the people and to do a job for the people, and the PC party ran me as their candidate, and I'm going to Ottawa to work not for the PC party, but for the people themselves. And I will vote whether if the Liberals come up with something that I think is good for Canada and our region, I will vote for it. If the Reform Party come up with something that they feel is not good for the country that the Liberals have and they're opposing it, then I'll vote in that manner, but I will vote as Elsie Wayne sees fit.
But Mayor Wayne, does it make you angry that the Bloc Québécois, as it stands now, will be the official opposition, that they will have more resources, public resources, than you to fight the battles in Ottawa?
It certainly does, and I do not feel that the Bloc Québécois should be the official opposition. They represent one province and one province only, and I really feel that Chrétien should be saying they're not going to be the official opposition and that Reform is.
If Preston Manning could give you an opportunity to change that, if he were to woo some members from the NDP and approach you, would you even consider it?
Oh, no, at this point in time.
If that was the only alternative to stopping the Bloc from being the opposition.
Oh, well, I haven't even looked at that. Yeah. That's the truth. I haven't even considered it, and I haven't even looked at it.
Any thoughts about the Tory leadership looking down a few years? I mean, assuming that Kim Campbell steps down?
Well, I guess that's an assumption as well. Yeah. What we have to do is bring all of our people together from the different regions to take a look at what went wrong and how do we rebuild. Certainly, a strong message has been sent that they do not like the way in which the party was functioning at the national level, and this is what has happened. Although I really think that people are just plain angry at this point in time, and maybe 4 years down the road what happened to the Conservative Party will happen to the Liberal Party. It's very difficult to say unless we start listening to the people. That's why you have the Reform Party, is because the people are angry. We have to find out what is it the people want, address what they want, and then get down to business once again.
Mayor Wayne, thanks a lot for joining us. I know a lot of people are making demands on your time right about now, and it should be interesting to see how Ottawa reacts to the mayor of the greatest little city in the East. Good luck. Mayor Elsie Wayne from St. John. Nancy?
Thank you, Paul. When we return, we'll ask a question that's on a lot of people's minds today. What about the future of the GST? You know, business hates collecting it as much as you hate paying it.
You'll probably sort of have a hidden tax, so that everything, the GST is included within the price of an article. I don't know, but I can't see him dropping it completely.
So what are Maritimers hoping for? We'll find out in just a moment.
No, I don't like that.
Hey, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, at least it did in the rolling hills in the middle of Prince Edward Island this morning. Yep, that's snow, folks. Maybe this is where that ice-cold milk comes from. Paul.
Here's something else that gives everybody a chill. It's a tax, in fact, that everyone has grown to hate. Will it soon be gone? Jean Chrétien promised to abolish the GST, but Maritimers in the town where the GST means jobs say, let's not be fooled. And as ATV's Dan Vio tells us, small business people are warning the Liberals to be careful that playing with the tax doesn't hurt even more.
Every main street has a flower shop like Kelly's here in Summerside, where the goods and services tax has become a fact of business life. Unwanted, perhaps, but reality. What will happen when the Chrétien Liberals abolish the GST? No one here is dumb enough to believe Ottawa won't get the tax one way or another.
I think he will come up with a new tax.
Like it or not?
Like it or not.
No, the government needs the income to pay some of their bills.
Of course, there was concern about the 300-plus jobs here at the new GST processing center, but the consensus seems to be we'll have one form of tax or another. And this center, one of the most modern in the world, will, as Jean Chrétien promised, continue to be needed.
If it is replaced, we have a building up the street here. All has to happen is the software has to be changed.
We don't have it as a GST. There'll be some other form of tax because they've invested too much money, not only in the building, but in the equipment that they've installed out there. That's a state-of-the-art place out there right now. It's probably one of the best computerized centers in Canada right now.
But business owners like Joyce Phillips say the Liberals had better be careful what they do about the GST.
What's it going to cost the business person in order to do something about another tax that's going to come in? Do we have to exchange all of our equipment that we have? We're going to have to reprogram. We're going to have to do a lot of things as far as marketing, cost effectiveness.
All our equipment and pricing was changed to go with the GST being a separate tax, and now if it has to be all changed again, it's a lot of work.
In Summerside, Dan Vio, ATV News.
GST always generates comments from Maritimers. Well, now joining us live from the Entrepreneur and Franchise Expo in Halifax is ATV's Fons Chessum. Fons, probably a lot of talk about the future of the tax system there.
That's right, Nancy. Well, about 2,000 people have moved through here since the expo opened earlier today. And like anywhere else in Canada, there's a crowd. Politics, taxes, the whole thing is being discussed. Interesting to point out, there is a federal GST information booth here at the expo. I asked the guy there a little while ago, would he have new pamphlets next year? He said it's hard to tell. But with me here now is Rupert Williams of the Federal Business Development Bank. They're putting on the expo here. He's been talking to some of the exhibitors, the small business people, about what they think the future holds for the GST. What's on their mind?
Well, I think, Fons, no question, when the GST was first introduced, it presented somewhat of a challenge to small business owners. The whole process of collection of administration, remittance, the various GST credit inputs, and so on. But small business people, our clients, are very adaptable, and they've grown to live with this as part of doing business. It's, of course, we don't know what changes might be made. It's early in terms of reaction, but today the reaction I got was that
they would welcome a simplification of the GST and the whole process.
Make it a little easier to administer.
I think
Interesting
that's
as
right.
well, some of the business people here have said they would rather the GST than a hidden tax. But this is definitely the place to find out what business people are thinking. There are about 160 exhibitors here. They're here to try and improve the small business climate as well as broaden the economic base in the region. Small business owners from throughout Atlantic Canada and the rest of the country are in Halifax trying to expand their markets and develop new ones. The Entrepreneur and Franchise Expo is set up to encourage small business growth and recognize its contribution to the economy.
Virtually all the net new jobs that are generated here in Atlantic Canada and indeed across the country are generated by small, medium-sized businesses.
We see the future of this province very much in the area of small and medium-sized business, and therefore it's up to us to encourage people and to support the kind of fair that this is.
There are business people trying to sell other business people on their products and services. There are also community development organizations trying to convince businesses to locate in their area. The Expo offers a one-stop shopping environment for small business people and those about to take the plunge into entrepreneurship. It even offers individual counseling for those who aren't certain what that involves. This Expo may bring about changes in your neighborhood. A variety of new companies hoping to locate in this region are here trying to attract franchise investors.
An opportunity here to sell some franchises and create some work for the individuals in Nova Scotia and in the Atlantic provinces. Also to create a market here for Pizza.
Others are hoping changing business and personal trends will help attract new entrepreneurs.
People are deciding to take better care of themselves and be responsible for their own health. The second mega trend that we're experiencing is in the home-based business, of course.
For the potential new business person, the Expo is a chance to look before you leap. Any particular direction you're leaning in right now?
Well, I guess whichever one would be the easiest to get into at the least cost and with the most potential for me to make a profit at.
And with that in mind, Nancy and Paul, I noticed a booth back there a little while ago with a home-based business opportunity. I'm just going to speak with those people, and I'll probably talk to you tomorrow. Well, maybe.
Wait a sec, Fonz. We want to keep you. Trust me on this one.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks
that would be an office-based business, so maybe we can work something out.
All right. Thanks, Fonz.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
That's ATV's Fonz Jessom in Halifax.
And Small Business Week continues here in the Maritime. Still to come, the complete maritime weather forecast from Richard Zarowski.
But next, one maritime YWCA looks at the economic forecast and decides to cut back. The details from a new member of our ATV reporting staff in just a moment.
I would sincerely like to thank the members of grades 7, 8, and 9 who made an active contribution to the campaign for your support and your contributions to this worthy cause.
It's always great to see young Maritimers doing good deeds. These students from Astral Drive Junior High in Cole Harbour raised money a penny at a time for Hope Cottage. They made the check presentation in the amount of $1,243 to a representative of the soup kitchen at the school auditorium this afternoon. Congratulations.
Well, you know, Nancy, for 119 years now, the YWCA has been helping women in Halifax. But big changes are coming. The pool and gym are being shut down.
The Y says it needs to save money, so it's getting out of the fiercely competitive fitness business. ATV's Mark Miller has the story.
Cheryl Newberg is one of hundreds of people who use the Y every day, but she's one of a growing number that are using it for more than just working out. She brings her son into play in the Parent-Child Resource Center. Newberg moved to Halifax from New York 6 months ago. When it came to finding a place to take her son, she didn't find much, except for the Y.
I think it's limited. I mean, I come from New York, and there's a lot to do. And there are limited programs here in comparison.
The YWCA says its future lies in these kinds of programs and in job retraining. With money tight, something had to go. For 30 years, people have been coming to this pool on their lunch hours, bringing their families here on weekends. But when the Y looked at their books and saw they had to save some money, they decided the pool was just too expensive. And the gym is also going to be shut down. Few here today were happy about the cuts. The Y has become a favorite workout spot because it's small. and because it's not trendy. Where are these people going to go? Where are you going to go now?
I don't know where I'm going to go. We just heard yesterday, so it's been a bit of a shock. I mean, I do teach at other facilities for the city, but it's not the same as coming to the Y. This is my second home.
The Y says that getting women working is more important than working out right now. They say the cuts will mean this retraining center and the daycare will survive in a newer, leaner YWCA. In Halifax, Mark Miller, ATV News.
And a hearty welcome to Mark, to our ATV News family. Glad to have him aboard.
We have some other family celebrations to tell you about now. First off, warm wishes go out to Jim and Viola Harnish of Guysborough County, Nova Scotia. Today marks their golden anniversary. Their family and friends send much love on this very special day. Also celebrating 50 years today are Jack and Mary Rudolph of Truro. Best wishes sent from their 3 children and their families.
Celebrating 61 years together are Albert and Marjorie Reed of Gabaroos. The Reeds have 1 son, 1 daughter, 8 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren, all of whom send all their love on this special day. Congratulations to Whitford and Belle Oikel of Lunenburg County. Today they celebrate their 64th anniversary. Much love sent from their 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. And finally this evening, a hearty congratulations to Cecil and Eva Irving. The Irvings were married on this date back in 1923. They currently reside in Wolfville, but were residents for a time of Kings County. Love and best wishes from their 3 granddaughters, 6 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild, and from all of us here in the ATV newsroom as well.
All right, there's lots more to come in the second half of Live at 5 tonight, including these stories from ATV reporters in your community.
I'm Yvonne Colbert on your side. What happens when you buy a used car and a new warranty, only to find out that the old warranty is still in place? I'll have that story later on Live at 5.
I'm Sally Cummings in French Village, where a house fire is pulling a community closer together. I'll have the story coming up.
The path I'm on is known as Soldier's Path. It was given that name by local residents because a British soldier walked this path. Well, as a matter of fact, the spirit of this British soldier walked this path nightly. I'm Bill Jessen. We'll have that ghostly walk later in this hour.
And Hollywood loses its most famous villain. A look at the incredible career of Vincent Price.
These children from the House of Children Daycare in Fredericton were getting into the Halloween spirit today. And hey, kids, you sound great. And you look marvelous.
You know, something scary besides Halloween is power bills and losing money where you could be actually saving money. And that's why all this month we're presenting you with Power Smart Tips of the Day. And here's the one for today, Tuesday, October 20th. As the days get colder, make sure to open your drapes and curtains on sunny days. As the song says, there's another song in this section. Let the sun shine in and warm up your rooms. It'll mean energy savings for you. And of course, we want to mention that tomorrow is a really big day in our Power Smart Month promotion here on ATV. Maritimers are going to be asked to turn off lights, appliances, and equipment during Live at 5 tomorrow night, and we're going to see how much power is saved. So we want you to make sure you tune into Live at 5 tomorrow night. Should be interesting pictorially, too. We'll see what we mean tomorrow.
Being Power Smart is becoming all that much more important as Richard is turning down the thermostat outside. Richard.
Ooh, cold out there. It was cold this morning. Temperatures were cold all across the maritime regions because of an area of high pressure moving through the area. We have a disturbance down to the south, though, that's going to be changing all that. Got a low pressure disturbance up to the north. It's going to be linking up with that low, sort of like a pair of pinchers moving in through the maritime regions. We've had this last couple of weeks pushing in along the eastern seaboard. Of course, the area of high pressure is our weather maker, ridging right through the maritime regions, and that gave us some sunshine today. Nice weather as well, but the temperatures were on the cool side. Right now, the latest close-up view of the map shows mainly clear skies across the region, although we did get some snow flurries across much of the region. Daytime high is not too high at all. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, from the freezing mark to the north, up near St. Leonard to around 4 degrees along the south shore, all the way from Yarmouth right through the Halifax region. Tonight, we're looking at clear skies. Temperatures again on the cool side. A few clouds here and there. Good news is we're not expecting to see any snow flurries. The wind out of the northwest will gradually start to abate. Temperatures a little milder down to the south, but anywhere from -2 to about +2 degrees across the region. Clear skies expected, also some cloudy periods by tomorrow evening. There's a large trough of low pressure, one low pressure system to the north, as we saw on the satellite map, the other one down to the south, moving along the eastern seaboard, with those warm fronts off to the north while they're pushing into our neck of the woods. We can look at mainly cloudy skies by the afternoon. Of course, as we get close to the center of the low, we're also looking at precipitation across the maritime regions. For tomorrow, we'll start off with some sunshine. We can expect to see temperatures between 8 and 10 degrees to about 11 degrees along the mainland of Nova Scotia. We're looking at rain, showers by early afternoon in the western sections of the map. Then we're looking at rain moving in widespread by the evening. It looks like sunny with partly cloudy conditions out to the east. Let's take a close-up view of this. We can expect to see temperatures between 8 and 10 degrees in through New Brunswick. As we move out to the east, temperatures will be steady around 11 degrees in Prince Edward Island, Cape Breton Island. Mainland of Nova Scotia around 11 degrees as well. So you've got about another 18 hours of clear skies and sunny weather before we wind up getting some cloud and some precipitation. Now, along with that, we're also looking at wind and downpours as much as 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. Now, for tomorrow, probabilities of sunshine, 60%. On Thursday, it goes down to 30%. We'll be lucky to find the sunshine at all on Thursday. Friday bumps up a bit at 60% again, another ridge trying to move in. And then for Saturday, a 50% probability of sunshine, sort of a mixed bag all the way from Thursday right through Saturday. And that is your probability of sunshine and your weather forecast. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you, Richard. On a sad note now, he's been called the perfect villain and the perfect gentleman. Vincent Price died of lung cancer yesterday at the age of 82. Gary Shepard looks back at one remarkable career.
For more than 50 years, Vincent Price was one of Hollywood's favorite villains. He didn't plan it that way, it just happened. He received his formal training as an actor on the stage and began his film career in 1938. He once remarked that of the more than 100 movies he made, only 20 of them were in the thriller category. But that, he said, is what people remember. Price will be remembered for such classics as The House of Wax and a series of Edgar Allan Poe stories, including The Pit and the Pendulum. He had a gaunt face and a creepy voice that had a menacing edge to it.
I will tell you where you are. You are about to enter hell, Bartholomew. Hell! The netherworld. The infernal regions.
Vincent Price did a lot of other things. He was the ghostly voice on Michael Jackson's hit recording Thriller.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand.
But it was as a movie villain that he will be best remembered.
He was a great one.
I was a big fan of his.
Yeah, Vincent Price, of course, would have loved some of the ghost stories that have long been popular in our region. A little later in our program tonight, Bill Jessom with the second maritime mystery in his special Halloween week series.
But up next, thinking about buying a used car? Well, then don't miss Yvonne Colbert's story. It could hold an important lesson for you. We are on your side in just a moment.
So, is it on the car?
Yep. And like I said, it was...
And the work continues the day after the election. Well, Paul and Yvonne are standing by with ATV on your side. First, here's Steve Murphy working on the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Afternoon, everybody. Coming up inside 20 minutes on the ATV Evening News, it's a hero's welcome for Jean Chrétien. The Prime Minister-elect returns to Ottawa to a hero's welcome. We have the entire post-election story tonight, including a look at which Maritimers could be the power brokers in the new Liberal government. And also, coming up tonight, we revisit a riding that Jean Chrétien himself visited, perhaps never expecting to win it. One of the most staunchly Tory ridings in Canada, never voted Liberal before. Find out why they turned against the party of Sir Johnny MacDonald later on your ATV Evening News. And also tonight, Promises, Promises. The jobs promise is the one that many we'll say, got the Liberals elected yesterday. We take a good close look at the promise. Was it just campaign hype, or can Jean Chrétien make good? And how can you get a job? What kind of a job can you expect? Stories coming up later on your ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, after Live at 5, which continues now with Paul and Yvonne on your side.
All right, thank you, Steve. And tonight in the On Your Side corner, it's one man's experience with car warranties. Yvonne?
That's right, Paul. Now, if you're planning to purchase a used car, this is a story that could save you money.
Yeah.
But when you bought the car, now, when your wife bought the car, you were there with her?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ask if there was any outstanding warranty?
I went by this.
And this Eric Knight is talking about is his application to purchase an extended warranty from Lubrico. It was offered to him by the dealership Halifax Chrysler Dodge, where he bought his '89 Suzuki Swift. On the application, the question is asked, is this vehicle covered by factory warranty? No is checked off. After the application was completed and filled in, Mr. Knight decided to check it out.
Then I went to call Suzuki, and he said, well, yeah, you got the factory warranty left on her. He asked me, he said, how many kilometers on it? I said, 57,000. You know, that's a round figure. But that's what it is. And he said, sure, it's good for 3 years or 80,000. So 5 years and 80,000, you know, 5 years and 80,000 kilometers. So I said, well, then give me a round figure of how long it would be good for. He said, I'll tell you, June 94 or the balance of the 1,000 miles that were left.
With that information in hand, information he did not have at the time of purchase, Mr. Knight called the dealership and asked for a refund. They refused, saying there was a 10-day cancellation period that had already expired. They did, however, offer to extend the warranty and start it when his existing warranty expired. He says he would never have paid the additional $699 for the extended warranty had he known the existing one was in place. Over at Halifax Chrysler Dodge, the man who runs the business says he wasn't aware of the existing warranty either, but it's not unusual to sell used cars without checking for a warranty first.
The used vehicle market is very complex. Warranties on vehicles because of first, second, third owners maybe, who they were sold to in the beginning determined the type of warranty that was on them. So it is a fairly complex situation to check each and every vehicle as you trade it to determine if it has a warranty specifically on that vehicle.
In Mr. Knight's case, you've agreed to reimburse his money.
By all means. We were unaware that there was any warranty on the vehicle. We traded it from a consumer, and that consumer did not declare it. And when we sold it to Mr. Knight, sold him an extended warranty, and certainly are willing to refund him the value of his extended warranty that he purchased.
Well, Yvonne, Mr. Knight must be happy that, he's getting his money back.
He is so. He's getting back his $699 less a $50 administration fee, but he's quite pleased to hear that.
So, this case, what kind of a lesson does it hold for somebody who's going out to buy a used car?
Well, Mr. Lundrigan said it is very much when you're purchasing a used car, buyer beware. And I checked with a couple of other dealerships in the Maritimes to see what they do when they're selling used cars. Do they check out to see if there are existing warranties? Some do, some don't. So your best bet is if you're buying a used car, you do the checking. It means a call to the manufacturer. They'll be able to tell you if you have any warranty left.
Heads up, everyone. Thanks, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
ATV's Yvonne Colbert on your side. Nancy?
Thanks, guys. This next story fits right in with On Your Side. Sometimes you never know who your friends are until the time of a tragedy. That's exactly what happened with one family in French Village. Sunday night, fire destroyed everything Treva Langstroth owned. But as ATV's Sally Cummings tells us, neighbors are helping her to rebuild.
Well, I was sitting right about here, in my rocking chair, and the television was over there in that corner. We were watching TV. All of a sudden, I got this smell of smoke.
There's not much left.
She lost pretty near everything. We managed to save a few items of clothing, some of the dishes, and maybe a couple of things of furniture.
But Treva Langstroth just feels lucky to be alive.
By that time I was choking and coughing, trying to get outside, and I got out all right, but which I consider myself lucky that we did, because it was burning quite hard by that time.
Must have been quite a scare.
Oh, scary.
The 66-year-old woman lived here with her 3 children. She was at home with her 42-year-old son, who's disabled with Parkinson's disease, when the fire started Sunday night. Treva lives on the few $100s she gets every month from the old age pension and her son's disability check. Money's tight. She planned to get insurance after the Christmas expenses were over.
Right in back of the chimney.
Faced with the dilemma of where she would begin again, a neighbor who owns the local convenience store stepped in with a helping hand.
So I said it's time we did something because...
Tim Booker is collecting donations and goods to help her rebuild.
It is a tight community. I mean, everybody here is. I mean, they support everybody, even if there's not a tragic. I mean, there's been other fires, and people have just got together and they've done it all. You know, they've done it. And I think we can do it this time.
The whole community is pitching in to help.
I think it's wonderful. You never realize who all your friends are until something like this happens, and they're right there to lend a hand, and it's wonderful. We're lucky to have so many friends.
In French Village, Sally Cummings, ATV News.
Thank you, Sally. You know, the community plans to hold a benefit dance and raise enough money and materials to rebuild the home by Christmas.
That's good news indeed. Well, don't go away, folks, because when we return, a scary story. Are you ready for the ghost of Pepeswick? We have it in a moment.
As time went on, we realized it was a ghost. There were noises. We used to walk by the path on our way home when we would come home at night, and we thought it was an animal after us, so we'd get an armful of rocks, and we'd throw the rocks, and we'd run to the house.
1, 2, 3.
Good. That was big. Of course, we all know libraries offer a wealth of resources in learning for Maritimers, and there's lots of entertainment, too. Witness this Halloween surprise puppet show at the Cole Harbour District branch of the Halifax County Regional Library today. And in keeping with the library's policies, the price was right. It was free.
Ah, yes. Perfect.
Speaking of Halloween, now, Bill Jessam turns a page in his collection of maritime ghost stories.
We've been waiting for this one. Tonight, it's the Victorian age and the story of the Pepeswick ghost.
It was a sunny July morning in 1835, and anchored in Pepeswick Harbor on Nova Scotia's eastern shore was a British troop ship. Aboard were soldiers heading for the garrison in Halifax. One soldier had other plans. He decided to desert by jumping over the side and swimming to his kind of freedom. However, he was shot dead, and his body washed up on the boggy shore, where it was quickly buried by those who shot him. In death, the soldier lives on. According to local legend, the spirit of the young soldier rises nightly from the grave, and like a phantom on air, glides over a footpath that leads into the woods. To this very day, the path is known as Soldier's Path. And the legend tells the tale that at midnight, every night, villagers are awakened by the sound of trees being felled. When the more courageous go to investigate, they see not a living soul, only the sounds of heavy breathing and the sharp edge of an axe cutting into a tree. As the Victorian age came to an end, a house was built on Soldier's Path. It wasn't long before the owners realized they had built their dream home on haunted ground. Ron Young, the grandson of the man who built the house, remembers growing up in that haunted place. Today, he smiles as he relives those ghostly encounters.
I remember at first, we really, my brother and I really didn't think it was a ghost. We didn't know anything about ghosts at the time, but as time went on, we realized it was a ghost. There were noises. We used to walk by the path on our way home when we would come home at night, and we thought it was an animal after us, so we'd get an armful of rocks, and we'd throw the rocks, and we'd run to the house.
In time, the Youngs became accustomed to the Pepeswick ghost and his spirited ways.
We knew the sound, Now, you could be in the living room, it would sound like the kitchen door. If you were in the kitchen, it'd sound like the living room door. Wherever somebody, when we first started hearing this, somebody would go to, everybody would get up and go to a door. After a while, we got to recognize the sound so well that actually nobody get up to go to a door. My father sits there eating supper and knocking the door. Is somebody going to answer the door? No, nobody's going to answer the door.
There was one incident, though, when Ron became so frightened, he nearly fled his home for good.
I sleep up the top of the stairs. Now, these footsteps come right up those stairs, right to the door. And I was kind of scary. As long as he didn't come in, I was fine, and which he didn't. But I think if he would have come in, I would have evacuated and moved out.
And then suddenly something happened. The sounds of chopping, cutting, and sawing in the woods ended. There were no more sounds of footsteps in the house or along this path to the shore. The young family couldn't figure out what happened to their ghost, all except one. Ron Young has his theory as to what happened to the ghost.
Beans, he used all the tools, and if we left tools outside, they would disappear. So we kind of believed that all this time he was, in these nights that were hammering, he was building a ghost ship. And what we believe was he finished his ghost ship, and he got aboard, and he just simply sailed back into it.
Scary stuff. Well, here's another Halloween-type story. I guess it's enough to drive a ghost to an early grave. Halifax has changed its mind again. Mayor Moya Ducharme says the city will now hold Halloween on Sunday, just like the other communities surrounding the harbor. Municipal councils right across our region, of course, have been struggling to decide when to hold Halloween, when many parents would, I guess, would rather have it on Saturday because it's not a school night. Anyway, don't worry about it, because we're going to bring you up to date once again as we head into Halloween weekend here on Live at 5.
Tune in tomorrow for another special Bill Jessup Maritime Mystery as we get closer to the Halloween weekend, and a special Friday edition of Live at 5 from a haunted house.
We'll be back in just a moment.